So one of the uses of the word kashar that's related to the word karash, and these brothers think that it's talking about Cyrus, is Esther 8:5. Queen, can you read this for us? Esther 8:5, it's on the screen.
Oh, okay. And said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the thing seems right before the king, and I be pleased in his eyes, let it be written to reverse the letters devised by Haman,
So
the son.
that's all we need. So that phrase, if you look at, I got the lexicon right here for you. If it seems right before the king, the lexicon says the word right is kashar. Kashar, and you see the definition matches the lexicon: to succeed, please, be suitable, be proper, be advantageous, be right, and proper to. So the Hebrew word karash that they're using for Cyrus in Isaiah 45 is related to its cognate kashar, meaning upright. It has another cognate, yashar, the upright ones. Any questions so far about that? Moving on. So now we're going to get into that little seminary talk, textual criticism. Because not only can these brothers not read in comprehension, they can't, because this is not intellectual. I'm not attacking their character or their brain. You know, I'm not trying to, this is a spiritual awakening. If you're sitting under a man who's carnal, he's all on his social media cussing and throwing on Versace shades, and you rolling with these New York comedic people, it's only so much that you can get because you're carnal. The Most High is not with you. That's the facts of the case. And if this is your teacher, how far are you going to go with a carnal teacher? So I'm not attacking their ability to learn. This is spiritual. But let's go with textual criticism to show you these brothers are not as sharp and astute as they claim to be, right? You guys ready? Y'all taking notes? I see y'all writing. Y'all taking notes?
Yes.
Y'all ready? Let's go to Isaiah 45. Let's everybody go to Isaiah 45. Let's just read it.
Here you go, man.
Let's just read it for ourselves, right?
A lot of it, yeah. It just makes sense. Just read it. I mean, when I read it, I guess you'll see it.
Oh, we're gonna read it. We're gonna read it. Because I don't want y'all just supporting this and if it's not sound. If I'm off in left field, I'm your brother. Say, hey, yeah, I don't think that's really kind of tight, or hey, you need to make, hey, we need some more witnesses. Yeah, we need some more witnesses. That's all we tell someone we need some more witnesses. It's not offensive, it's not aggressive. So maybe if we get some more witnesses, it'll be solid. We don't challenge each other. I'm the leader here, I'm the head of the Torah group, but I'm a soldier like you all. So don't ever feel like you can't come to me and tell me you found something that's contradicting what I brought out, because I'm a man. I'm not the Messiah. I'm not the master teacher. So Isaiah 45:1. Shemai. Read.
Thus saith Yahweh Elohim.
No. Just let's just read what these pagans wrote.
Thus saith Baal. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's what they wrote, though. Thus saith the Lord God.
See, us Hebrews laugh. It's a little Hebrew humor. Like, we laugh.
Thus saith the Lord God to my anointed Cyrus, whose right hand I have held. The nations might be obedient before him, and I will break through the strength of breaking through.
You read this Septuagint, ain't you?
Oh, you want it? Oh,
yeah.
That's
fine. Yeah, let's be fair.
Okay. Yeah, that's even better.
We're trying to help them, so let's read the text they use.
Okay.
For everybody who didn't understand, he was reading the Septuagint. That's when it's going to help us bring this out, but we ain't going to go there first. We're going to read it in the KJV like they read it, but we are going to vet this against the Septuagint.
Thus saith the Lord to his anointed Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden to subdue the nations before him, And I will loose the loins of kings to open before him the 2 leaven gates.
2 leaves gates.
The 2 leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut.
So this is Isaiah 45:1 that this brother so cockily and arrogantly quoted, saying that the only time the Most High calls anyone his Messiah is referring to a pagan king, Cyrus here. And it says, thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus. So let's break this down and let's apply textual criticism, but to us, it's just common sense. The Most High blessed us with that. It's part of our gifts, right? Let's break this down. Isaiah 45:1. Read it again out.
Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden.
Stop. Whose right hand I have holden, right? Now, Ryan, take us to let's just read all this first. Now, Ryan, get Amos 3:2 ready. Gina, get Psalms 105 ready. 105 for Gina and Ryan, you get Amos 3:2 ready. Now, I'm gonna let you go read it from the top to the bottom.
Thus saith the Lord to his anointed Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue the nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings to open before him the 2 leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass and cut in sunder the bars of iron, and I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou may knowest that I, the Lord, which called thee by thy name, am the God of Israel. For Jacob my servant's sake and Israel's mine elect have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. I am, okay, sorry.
Yeah, we're good here.
Oh,
Though thou hast not known me. The Most High is supposedly talking to Cyrus. According to these brothers' understanding, according to their doctrine, Cyrus is the only one ever called the Most High's anointed. And now the Most High is supposedly telling Cyrus, I'm going to hold your hand and subdue nations before you. I'm going to make the crooked places straight. And then he says, even though thou hast not known me. So let's get these references out the way first. Right, you got Amos 3:2. Amos 3:2. Read.
You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
Say what?
You only have I known of all the families of the earth.
So Amos 3:2, you guys can read it at your leisure. Amos 3, he's telling Israel, I've only known you out of all the nations, all the tribes, out of all the families of the earth, Israel, Jacob boys, Yasher Allah, I've only known you. Now let's apply textual criticism to verse 4. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. Well, of course, Father, that won't make no sense. You already said you only know Israel. So why would this make sense to say that though thou hast not known me? You see, it's starting to get shaky, right? But let's not stop there. Let's keep going. Let's read Psalms 105, verses 12 through 15.
When they were but a few men in number, yea, very few, and the stranger in it.
Mm-hmm.
When they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people. He suffered no man to do them wrong, yea, he reproved kings for their sakes.
Say what?
He suffered no man to do them wrong, yea, he reproved kings for their sakes.
I'm going to subdue nations before him. I will loose the loins of kings. Psalms 104:5 is referring to when he brought us out of Egypt, how he made the kings lay down for us. Y'all see where we going with this? But you're a Bible scholar. You've been to all these museums in New York. You speak the hieroglyphs. You're a Talmudic, rabbi, Kabbalistic devil. That's what you are.
Just a quick another quick jab, verse 21 and 22. He made him Adonai of his house. He's referring to Yahweh, Joseph, when he went to Egypt and became the pretty much right-hand man of Pharaoh. He made him master of his house and ruler of all his substance, to bind his princes at his pleasure and teach his senators wisdom. Egyptologists and chemists, they got their wisdom from Yahweh.
So we see that our forefathers, they spread the Most High's knowledge to all the other kingdoms. Uncle Joseph or Yahweh ran Egypt. He got y'all in line. Then Uncle Daniel ran Babylon. And Egypt and Babylon at that time in their reign controlled the world. That's why these other nations have a lot of things similar to us. You get these apologists and these committed people, y'all got y'all doctrine from Kemet. Let me show you this text of the dead. Idiot. There was 3 boys on a boat named Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Don't you think they're dead? Noah told them what was going to happen in the end days. So that's why you gotta, fam, you can't be sitting in front of your computer and like, man, that was a good breakdown. No, vet these people. So already, before we get too far gone, it seems like Isaiah 45 is not talking about Cyrus the Persian king. Now, just to give you more context, because Gina read Psalms 105, and it's referring to when he brought us out of Egypt, how he suffered no king to do us wrong, right? Now, let's go to Ezekiel 1 to get some more context. He suffered no man to do them wrong. Let's go to Ezekiel 1. And this is when we're about to leave Babylon under Cyrus's orders or his permission, right? Ezekiel 1, and just read like, go there with you. Of course, Ezekiel is not in, these books are not in chronological order. That doesn't help either. Isaiah prophesied about this way before it happened. That's what I'm trying to bring out. That's why people get confused. How does Isaiah know about this when Isaiah didn't live through this? Ezekiel 1, and just for the sake of time, let's drop down to I don't want Ezekiel 1. I want Ezekiel 2. It should have been Ezekiel 2. Oh, you know what? I think I pulled the wrong book, y'all. I think that should have been Ezra. Go to Ezra 1. That's what that EV? Oh, Khan, Slaki for that family. It's Ezra. Ezra 1. Ezra Nehemiah is originally one book, one record, one scroll. Ezra chapter 1, and just for the sake of time, because Psalms 105 said he suffered no man to do them wrong, right? We're going to take the religion out of the text and put some common sense history into the text, right? Let's go to Ezekiel 1 and start it at verse 6. Ezekiel 1, Slakia. Ezra chapter 1. Ezra 1 verse 6. Shemai, read.
And all they that were round about them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver, with gold, with goods, and with beasts, and with precious things, beside all that was willingly offered. Also Cyrus the king brought forth the vessels of the house of Yahweh, or the Lord, which Nebuchadnezzar had brought forth out of Jerusalem, and had put them in the house of his gods. Even those did Cyrus the king of Persia bring forth by the hand of Mithridath the treasurer, and numbered them unto Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah.
So because the Most High has touched Cyrus, he's bringing all our treasures that the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar stole and took from us. Cyrus saying, here's your holy things back. Going back to Jerusalem and build the house of the Most High. Can I kick it?
Yes, you can.
Here's a people been in captivity for about 70 years. They're a generation who've been slaves paying tribute to the king of Persia who's ruling the world. Now they're coming through these lands, and y'all can get the map and see it. They're coming from Persia and Babylon and going back to Jerusalem on foot, camel, and horseback with a bunch of gold and silver. And no man's going to try to rob them. That's Psalms 105. He suffered no man to do them wrong. So now when you put Isaiah 45 in context, I'm going to subdue nations for them, loose the loins of kings. You start to get the picture. And just like he did come out of Egypt, he's doing it coming out of Persia and Babylon. And then how are we leaving this captivity?
Same way.
Y'all see the pattern here? But you get in front of your social media and you know a bunch of these fancy words and you're seducing people. That's what I'm telling you. Don't be impressed by these brothers' presentation. Y'all ever been to a restaurant that was a franchise, had all the lights, camera, action, clean, nice, new booths, and when you get your food was garbage?
McDonald's.
No. But then you go to an old hole in the wall, smell like cigarettes, and the bathroom was like, I don't want to touch nothing in here.
Got the best food.
But when you get that plate,
That's
like,
how I look at Jake's. That's how I look at Jake's. The building look raggedy and everything. The drive-through half broke, but
that food
that fried fish be good.
on fire. That's how you gotta, these people are spending money and time on their presentation, getting their logos together, getting their garments together. You should have spent time in prayer and meditation and get your understanding together.
Go ahead, Gerald.
And what you just brought out is perfect, is the perfect example of why I was saying and why we was talking about the other day, how not Hamashiach, but I believe there will be some sort of Mashiach, anointed one, to lead us out of this captivity. Because you have Moses out of Egypt, you got Cyrus from Babylon, you got Noah after the flood. Like there was always an individual who led on earth the coming out of the captivity, so to speak. So now that we're going over all of this and we're breaking it down, we see that no, Cyrus ain't Hamashiach, but he's one that the Most High used in order for the sake of his people to come out of their captive circumstance. You know, it's the same thing repeating itself. You know,
Your correlation is a little off because you were on point at first, but then when you put Cyrus as the one leading us, because remember, Cyrus is the king. He didn't take that trip with us.
well, he didn't not, like, for them to insert it here, like, and it goes back to what we said. It's still up for debate for me. For them to insert Cyrus here, let's say if the text was actually, because he did say to my anointed, comma, and then it says to Cyrus, talking about the king of Persia, because he's the one, it was him and his kingdom that conquered Babylon, that allow us to go back to our land out of that captivity. So even still, like, even if you, their usage and how they're intended it, we know how Christians take it to think that he's saying that this man of another nation is his anointed. Well, we have no proof for that because he ain't serving the Most High. We have no proof that he's serving the Most High. We have no proof of him being anointed, like we said, and all of that. So if he belongs there, if that name belongs there, if that was the true intention of the text, then it was his kingdom, it was him and his kingdom that conquered Babylon that allow us to go back. So if you understand what I'm saying, yes, he's not the same, under the same umbrella as Moses and as Abraham or as Noah, whatever the case may be. But in the sense of him using anybody he want to use for the sake of his people, kind of like your boy was used. Who was the king? Who was the one that was involved with Christ that wasn't a Hebrew, wasn't one of our people, but from his political position, he did things favorably for us, for the people.
For Hamashiach.
Yeah, like just stressing the point that he always he can use whoever he want to use for the sake of his people, for the benefit of his people. It wasn't always, as far as like leading us, I believe it would be somebody from the house from Yasharallah, as far as leading us as a people. But in a part of that coming out of captivity, he can use whoever he want to use. He can use whoever he want to use to play a role in the unfolding of that, like he used Pharaoh. He used Pharaoh as a vessel by making his heart obstinate in the play out of us going back up out of Egypt, gathering his people up out of that captivity. So it's two sides to it. It's like we're only told that, okay, Noah was used with the flood, and we know he was of Yasharallah. We know Moses was used, and he was of Yasharallah. But the other captivities, we're not really told a specific individual that was of Yasharallah that was used to bring us. I guess you would say Hamashiach. I guess you would say Hamashiach in 70 CE, but we came out of that captivity, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's like, until we come out of this captivity, we don't know who the Yasharallah identifying person would be. But with that, he can pull strings and manipulate anybody of the nations to play a role in our benefit, like Putin potentially. And what's going on with, if you understand what I'm saying. So you're right with what you said in correcting what I was saying, but I don't want to. I guess I don't want to. I'm not wording correctly what I'm trying to say. Maybe I need to put it together better before I just spoke out on that thought. But maybe y'all understand what I'm saying.
What I think would fit better with your position is that what I was going to say is that Cyrus is in the role of similar to Pharaoh when he finally said, let the people go. So what that part, you're trying to say that the Most High can use a king such as Cyrus, soften his heart to show that we are the Most High's people and we need to go back to our land. But the people who were the Mashiachs for this time is Ezra and Nehemiah.
There you go. Got you. There you go. There you go.
That's the part you're missing. So
there you go.
So your point is still valid that out of this captivity, it may be Gerald and Abijah. We don't know. We just make.
I don't want me because I ain't taking no.
But in this case, what Marah is trying to, he ain't really hit the exclamation point yet. So that's why you don't get it yet, but you will in a few minutes.
Right.
But Cyrus right now would be similar to Pharaoh. Ezra and Nehemiah would be similar to Moses and Aaron. And
the prophets. He used the prophets, exactly.
Right. And it's still your position that we may have someone leading us out of here.
I think
it's
so.
Still valid as well, if that makes sense.
I agree with you that it's going to be a physical man, even though I know we're still, for the audience's sake, this is the sidebar we've been working on. And just to clean it up, I'm starting to see that your point is valid, even though we don't have all the witnesses yet. So that's why I want to be responsible. But based on what Gerald's seen, the patterns, he has validity to his claim that it's going to be a physical men helping us get out of here. Because it's going to take work to get us all. Look just for the Torah Group. We like, what, 10 people if we all together? It still takes someone. Let me quarterback this thing.
Real quick, and then I'm done. I was gonna say too, I was like, you're seeing it now. Like it's not something mystical or anything. Right. You're seeing it happen now. Abijah came here, put together his what was the Most High put on his spirit to create a space for people to come, and then people start showing up. That's the same thing as helping lead and restore the kingdom. So you already seeing it. So that's why I say your overall point is correct.
I just wanted to clean it up that Cyrus is not part of a Hamashiach for the nation.
Right.
That's all I want to
and that's clear. So what I was saying is like we're exposing, but the way that Christians receive it and the way that it's written, that they're seeing it, not knowing the language, not understanding the culture, from their perspective, we've been taught that Cyrus was the one that he used or that prophetically was spoken of to be that one. But that's not the role. He's not on the good side. He's not of Yasha'Allah. The Yasha'Allah is the prophets. So yeah. So y'all saying exactly what I'm trying to say. It's just I didn't know how to like tie it together. But from their perspective, from what that dude said earlier, he's thinking from the standpoint that Cyrus is the Messiah, or Cyrus is that anointed individual. No, the prophets was that. You know, so no. Go ahead. That's the point. That's the point.
For the listening audience and for those who are babes, we just went on a tangent on a deeper conversation of how we're going to leave this current captivity. All of us repentant Israelites and strangers who cleave to us, there's going to have to be physical men spearheading and guiding us. Because think about us here in Greensboro. When we get together with other communities, we're going to stick like, what do you think we should do, Abijah, Shamar? Well, let's our group fast and pray, because they may be on tomorrow, like they can rub pig oil on them. Like, I don't think we're going to do that. You know what I mean? So even when we all of us repent Israelites and the righteous strangers get ready to move, we're still going to be in our little sects. Like, hey, you think that's right what he's saying? It's like, nah, we're gonna hang back. So for those who not understanding, we just went on a tangent talking about how we're going to leave this current captivity around the globe. All these assemblies around the globe, the leaders of those assemblies are probably going to be the trustworthy part for that group. Even when we all together, we're going to go find our group. So that's for those who didn't know what we were talking about. Now, for today's topic, we're telling people Cyrus is not nowhere near a Messiah. It's Christianity, and now it's these Hebrews, these so-called Torah masters who don't know the language, talking about Cyrus is the only Messiah mentioned for the Most High here.
Well, I don't want to go too far on topic, but what Gerald just brought out just kind of made me think of the Most High just setting the stage and putting certain pieces of the stage together to be glorified, right? So in this case, Cyrus could be like the president or whoever's in charge that gathers, because I've been thinking about our deliverance, just like I mentioned earlier. How are we all going to be put in one place and distinguished from everybody else, kind of like what we want to go through, as far as like, this is Egypt, and over there, that's where the Israelites are.